Hey there, it's Dr. Bernstein, the president and founder of Get Yourself Into College. And in today's video, I want to provide you with some very specific tips that will help you take advantage of the competitive edge that you have as a homeschooled high school student. And this video is meant to give you tips that are useful for those of you in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So stay tuned. If you're applying to college using the Common Application, you're going to have to complete the Homeschool Supervisor Report, which requires sharing any information about your homeschooling experience that would be useful for the reader in terms of evaluating your application. And the kind of information that they're looking for, as they point out, is information about your educational philosophy, your motivations for homeschooling, the instructional setting, and other such details. Now, clearly, this is a part of the application that a parent or homeschool supervisor needs to fill out. However, it is really important that you, and by you, I mean the student, it's really important that you provide admissions officers with perspective on your educational philosophy, with insight into what motivated you to participate in homeschooling and how you've optimized your learning experiences through this particular type of education, which really does set you apart from many, many other applicants. As the admissions team at MIT points out, their admitted homeschool applicants have really shined when it comes to having taken the initiative and, as they say, having taken advantage of their less constrained educational environment to take on exciting projects, go in depth in projects that excite them, create new opportunities for themselves and others, and more. So these are some really compelling reasons why colleges in general, not just MIT, are very intrigued by homeschooled applicants. But as I just pointed out, you have to provide admissions officers with insight into your learning experience, with insight into your character, your experiences, your perspectives. You can't and should not rely on the homeschool supervisor report, your recommendations, and your transcript to do this work for you. Colleges are admitting you, not your parents, not your homeschool supervisor, not your recommenders, who all are going to share valuable perspective, but you can't let that stand in the place of your own perspective. So what I want to do right now is provide you with 4 tips that are going to help you start describing these things. I always think it's important that your whole application package emerges naturally out of yourself, out of your experiences, your perspectives, your accomplishments, rather than being in the position where you're trying to force yourself into the application package or the application form. My first recommendation is to set aside some time to describe in your own words the educational philosophy informing your homeschool experience. Now, don't get intimidated by the phrase educational philosophy. What you really want to be doing is describing the approach to learning that you've taken in high school. You might be in Stanford University's online high school, or you might be taking advantage of the innovative educational curriculum offered through Oak Meadow, or you might be using something like the Charlotte Mason method or classical conversations. You might even be unschooling or bringing together your own eclectic blend of educational methods. So I want you to start by describing how you approach learning in your particular homeschooling environment. I want you to describe your approach to learning in your homeschooling environment in a way that people who have really no understanding of homeschooling can understand. For instance, if you're using the Charlotte Mason method, I want you to describe this method in your own words. So you might need to do a little bit more research into the Charlotte Mason method, but I want you to describe it in your own words and as it applies to your own learning experience. So you might want to spend the next couple of days watching yourself, observing yourself as you're going about your homeschooling experience so that you can have a clearer sense of how you are approaching learning. My second recommendation is to write about why you decided to homeschool. What were your personal motivations for homeschooling? See if you can describe how homeschooling and your particular form of homeschooling was a really good fit for you, for your learning style, for your learning preferences. For instance, one of my homeschooled students is a very, very creative person, and she's academically gifted. And she's the kind of person who really likes to delve deeply into whatever she's studying and take innovative approaches to her projects. She always comes up with good ideas when she's reading and learning, and she wants to sort of shape projects that emerge out of her ideas rather than just conforming to a set essay assignment. And this wasn't something that her local school district could really accommodate, so that's why she started homeschooling. So she might describe this. And what I want you to make sure that you're doing is that you're not just telling, but that you're actually showing. And one of the best ways to show is through the use of anecdotes. So this student might do something like describe a scene, a sort of before and after scene, before homeschooling and after. So the before scene might be describing a situation where she learned something she was really excited about, but she wasn't really allowed to follow that interest in her classes. And then she could have an after that describes how her homeschooling environment really helped her pursue her interests in a way that was good for her. Now, you definitely do not want to be bashing public schools or private schools or traditional schooling. The focus really needs to be on you. And probably if she used this in her application, she would probably strip out that before and really focus on the homeschooling experience itself. So your job here really is to help people understand why you wanted to homeschool, why homeschooling was such a good fit for you. And again, you want to show rather than tell. My third recommendation is really connected to what I've already talked about, and that is you want to spend some time writing about how your homeschooling environment has helped you pursue your interests. So you might want to go in depth describing one or two of the projects that you've worked on and how your homeschooling environment has given you that freedom and that space to explore your interests in these ways. My fourth recommendation is to write about your actual learning environment itself. And by that, I mean the physical space. There is a common application essay topic that allows you to write about an environment where you feel perfectly content. And as a homeschooling student, you might be able to come up with a really excellent description of an intellectual environment where you thrive and feel really content. So let's say that you're originally from San Francisco, but you and your family moved to Bali because your parents opened up a yoga retreat center. And so you decided to pursue homeschooling because of that big shift in your location. Well, you might have an interesting story about where you learn. Most kids, they wake up, they have breakfast, they go off to a building, school to learn. As a homeschooling student, you have many more options here. So she could get up in the morning, have a little breakfast, and go to the yurt to read. And maybe later on in the middle of the day, she'll go off to town and take a Balinese dance class. And then when she comes back, she might go to her room, describe her learning space in her room that she set up, and get online and talk with some of her friends from her literature class and talk about a particular passage that they're studying. So the point here is to really create a really vivid description of your external learning environment. It doesn't have to be your entire learning environment. You can zoom in on one particular aspect of it, and you want to balance the external details with the internal details. So you describe the physical space, and then you can describe why this space is so conducive to thinking and learning. So those are my 4 tips to help you get started sharing your perspective on your homeschooling experience and to start taking advantage of that competitive edge you can have as a homeschooled student. If you're curious and want to learn more about my tips for homeschooling and why you have an advantage and how to maximize it, make sure you go over to my website, getyourselfintocollege.com, and head over to the section of the menu bar that says homeschool on it, and there you'll be able to access a special presentation that I've created for you guys. So that's it for now. I hope you have a great day. Bye.